How you doing? It's Sunday, so we're going to look at a list of 5 things again, but this time we're going to look at 5 pictures that raise more questions than they answer. We'll start with the least controversial of the lot. It doesn't really raise many questions, but I wanted to share it all the same, especially after the video on purring we did recently. This is a relatively modern image of 2 American gentlemen engaged in the manly art of shin kicking. It's from the National Police Gazette in 1890. What is of note to me, apart from the delightful look of concern on the spectators, is the fact that there is definitely an asymmetry in the grip that the fighters have, which suggests that it's not being done with a specific hold in mind, but is in fact a form of catch hold, where any grip you can get is what you fight from. Which of course adds in a layer of complexity to the fight. Was this a formal system with specific training, or was it simply an impromptu fight? I genuinely don't know, but it's an interesting picture all the same, and it's worth mentioning that the article claims repeatedly that purring is a Welsh thing, and only adopted in Lancashire at a later date. Number 2 is another picture, but one that I've only seen used by Ruslan Pashayev. The text says, "Bite him well, old Lancashire. Beat and thump his ribs as if thou'dst got a kettle drum. Keep him down, old Derbyshire, and shake his headpiece till he turns dizzy." He describes the image as being of an up-and-down fight from the 18th century. I've not managed to track down the source myself, and as yet, I haven't contacted him to ask where it came from, but if it is indeed an up-and-down fight, and it certainly sounds as if it might be, then it's interesting that one of the fighters is old Derbyshire. Make of that what you will. Number 3 comes from a 14th century French manuscript currently in the British Library. The description states 2 figures wrestling. I realise that French wrestling was always considered to have some unusual rules, but I'm not convinced that the person who drew this had ever actually seen wrestling, and was simply working from a description of people grabbing each other's legs. Number 4 is another from the British Library. It's a manuscript known as the Queen Mary Psalter, written right at the start of the 1300s, and the description is simply 2 nude men wrestling. But there are several things of note here. Firstly, they aren't quite nude. One of them has a scarf around his neck, which we'll come back to soon. Secondly, it's clearly a loose grip fight. Thirdly, and most noticeably, the gentleman on the left appears to be gouging the chap on the right's eye, while setting up to hit him round the head with a small club. It's obviously Lancashire fighting then. The 5th picture is a lovely example of a form of wrestling that seems to have been very popular throughout the medieval period, and yet seems also to have almost completely vanished by the time people started writing about wrestling with any real consistency. We have Pietro Monte, who says, in Greater Britain, which nowadays is called England, they wrestle with linen cloths bound around the neck. After seizing it with their hands, they twist it around so much that sometimes they fall from choking. And we have this line, written in 1612 by Michael Drayton, who was attempting to describe the traditions and histories of the counties of England in the form of song. "With collars they be yoked, to prove the arm at length. Like bulls set head to head, with mere deliver strength." It is, of course, describing Cornwall, so perhaps the scarf evolved into a jacket. Who knows? So now, over to you. Were you familiar with any of these pictures? Do you know more about them than me? Did I miss anything that you were expecting to see? Stick something in the comments and let me know, and then make sure to subscribe. It's been scientifically proven that subscribing to this channel raises your IQ by several points, and also, surprisingly, stops people telling you they're a vegan for no reason. Some of this may not be true. And to those of you still here, at the very end of the video, fight team.